So the title of the video is not clickbait. Hisuian Samurott was put in C tier in the GBA community tour, the second lowest tier, alongside some true competitive Pokemon royalty like Bruxish, Gothorita, Spidops, and Volcanion. Wait, what? Volcanion? Anyways, my team's on the screen, my opponent's team's on the screen. Let's get it. So, again, Specs Electrode here looks pretty good if the Palosan goes down. And if the Palosan goes down, I just click Specs Volt Switch and do 10 billion damage. So, but I don't lead with the Electrode this time because there is a Palosan. I lead Cyclizar on the Hatterene. And here, I considered a couple different things because, I mean, I'm a Dragon type, this is a Fairy type, right? So my thought was he's probably gonna Mystical Fire expecting like a U-turn into Scizor or something. Although my opponent did say that they hadn't played draft in like almost 2 years, so they probably might not even know what the Cyclizar does. I decided I'm just gonna knock off and maybe eat a Mystical Fire. I can't imagine it's a Dazzling Gleam out the gate, right? Because I have like 3 fairy resists, right? I think it's not a good move on turn 1 to click. And if it's like a Calm Mindset, it's probably Draining Kiss, which isn't even gonna kill. So I decided to just knock off. And I knock off a Babiri Berry, which is pretty good. And Psychic gets a crit, which sucks, but I have Regenerator. Like this is completely manageable. Right? Like I'm 2 regenerators away from like being back in commission with this thing. And here I decide, nope, I'm just gonna U-turn and I'm gonna see what he wants to do. If he wants to stay in, he wants to stay in. If he wants to switch, he wants to switch. Here he switches into Palossand on my U-turn, which is fantastic because I can bring in my choice band Hisuian Samurott. And I mean, it's just gonna click buttons. Unfortunately for me, the Overquill, which I expected to be offensive, is actually a defensive set with Intimidate, which it's kind of rough for my Samura, but I do get it off a Ceaseless Edge. I do get a Spike Up, which is really nice. The Spike is going to be huge to wear down Palafin, mostly. It can also help with the Dunsparce to like guarantee some 2-hit KOs here and there. Now here, I decide, well, I don't really have much I can do against this Overquill. But I looked up its moveset and I saw that it didn't really get much to hit Scizor. And so I just went into Scizor. And he doubles out back into the Thunderous. And I'm like, okay. Here, I very heavily considered the Terra Fire from the Thunderous. And eventually I just decided, fuck it. If he's Terra Fire, he's Terra Fire. So what? My Terra Water Volcarona, because this is a rain team, I need to resist Jet Punch. My Terra Water Volcarona can put in work, right? Luckily for me, he's not Terra Fire. He Terra Electrics and goes for. Oops, I clicked the reset button on accident. Here, okay. He clicks the Terra Electric, and he goes for the Wild Bolt Storm, which is 80, which is huge damage, but I know that it's not Specs. And, he could be Scarf, he could be Boots, he could be, I don't know, something, right? I just know he's not Specs, he's not Life Orb. I don't think he could be Modest based on the Scizor damage. I just get off a U-turn, which does 75, which is very nice because this thing is now firmly in Aqua Jet range from Samurott. It's in Specs Volt Switch range from Electrode, actually. Specs Volt Switch from Electrode does like 27 minimum, maybe less depending on investment, but ideally it kills. Here, I just go into Cyclozar because I need to get some Regenerator healing going. It's the only thing on my team that outspeeds this Thunderous, besides Electrode, but I didn't want to go into Electrode because, again, he has the Palosan. It's immune to literally any move Electrode could click. And I figured, okay, if he does end up being Scarfed, Wild Bolt Storm is a really low chance to kill me. It's a very favorable roll for me to live. So I figured, okay, I'm gonna get a knockoff, and If he Scarf, he Scarf. If I live, I get a kill. Wonderful. I don't have to deal with this Thunderous for the rest of the game. He does switch into Palossand, which is really nice. I get the knockoff on it, and I knock off a Soft Sand, which perplexed me a fair bit during the game. I was wondering what the Soft Sand was trying to achieve. I mean, here, I did think about it, about what my play was going to be. I decided I'm just going to U-turn into Samurott. If I eat an Earth Power, I eat an Earth Power. Right, because I don't have a really good ground switch in here. He just gets up rocks instead, and I considered going for another Ceaseless Edge, but I decided the second spike is not that good, and I'm not sure if I could get a third spike too easily here. The third spike would be insane, but the second spike it's not much better than the first spike, and I figured Overcoat probably wants to come back in, right? So I'm just gonna Aqua Cutter to cover the Overquill switch, get some decent damage on that. But instead, he decides to just sack the Palossand, and then brings out the Palafin. Now here, I was kind of worried that even though it's a zero form, I was worried that Choice Band Close Combat might still kill my Samurott. So I decided to just go into Glimmet. If he flip turns, then he flip turns. So what? I get a T-Spike up, he's forced to go into Overquill, which is really nice because at least whatever comes in won't be intimidated. But instead, he just hard switches into Overquill, and I go into Glimmet. Now, here, my play is always to just Power Gem. If the Dunsparce comes in, then Dunsparce comes in. Thunderous just drops. Palafin's gonna take way too much damage if it comes in, and Hatterene is super slow, and it's gonna die to a Sludge Wave afterwards. So I just have this very easy, very safe power gem here. Like, there's no reason to try to get rocks up, because the Thunderous could be boots, so even if I do get rocks up, it might not even do anything too much. And I don't want Hatterene. I mean, I guess Hatterene bouncing rocks wouldn't actually do anything, but I don't want to waste a turn, right? So I want to get something accomplished, and chip on this would be really good. Chip on Hatterene to soften it up would also be really nice. But here he goes for a very aggressive switch and a Palafin, and Power Gem does 27, which leads me to believe that this is Assault Vest for the Volcarona. Unfortunately, at 49%, I don't think the Assault Vest is going to help him anymore, but here I decide to just sack the Glimmet because I don't have a switch and a Jet Punch. I just do not. I really do not. But I get the T-Spike up, the Glimmet goes down. I send out Electrode because I know this thing lives a Jet Punch. And I know that he's not Choice Band. Well, he could be Choice Band with near max Spadef investment. But if he's max Spadef, he's not max attack, which means that even Choice Band the Jet Punch is guaranteed to not kill the Electrode. So here, he just goes for the Jet Punch, it doesn't kill, and Electrode picks up one more kill with the Volt Switch. I decide I don't really know what to do here. I'm just gonna go Cyclozar because I don't want him to go Thunderous. I don't want the Scizor to take Rocks damage. I don't want to go into Samurott because again, he's just gonna go Thunderous, and I don't want that, or Overquill. So I just go Cyclozar. The Palossand is down, so I can spin the rocks, which is gonna be really nice for my Electrode, my Scizor, so that they can switch in as much as they like. Here he just goes for Overquill, and obviously absorbs the T-Spike. That's completely fine. I just try to spin, but he protects, gets some Black Sludge recovery. I get the spin off the second turn, and he just Toxics me, and with the Regenerator Mon, I'm really not concerned about the Toxic, because I can just U-turn out and heal a third of my health. Here, I try to knock off, but he just protects, and I considered going for knockoff again, but I didn't want to rack up too much toxic damage, so I just went for the U-turn, and he goes into Hatterene. Here, I just go Scizor, because I'm just going to click Choice Band U-turn. He goes back into Overquill. And here, I decide to go into Electrode, because Volt Switch is going to kill the Overquill. Hatterene, I think Hatterene might live, but it's gonna be on like no HP. If the Dunsparce comes in, that's perfect because I need chip on this thing. Thunderous dies to Volt Switch, but I misclicked and went into my Hisuian Samurott. But here, my opponent just clicks Haze for some reason. I guess he didn't think the Overcoat would be faster than the Samurott, but I had no speed investment on the Samurott because I expected this to be Swift Swim, and I'm not outspeeding this thing in rain, so why even bother? Because, like, the Palafin has more base speed, the Thunderous has more base speed, and everything else on his team, besides, like, these three Mons, are super slow, so I didn't need speed investment. But, hey, he just clicks Haze. I expected to get, like, P-Jabbed or Gunk Shot or something, but just goes for Haze. And Aqua Cutter does get a kill, which is very nice. Thunders comes back in. It is Boots because it didn't take spikes damage. I suck Electrode because it's the least it's the most disposable Pokemon I have right now because I have a Choice Band Scizor with close combat for the Dunsparce. I have a Volcarona, which it's a Volcarona. I have a Hisuian Samurott, which is also Choice Banded, and like Aqua Cutter is gonna do a lot, even to Fitz Def Dunsparce. I think it two shots the Dunsparce actually, even Fitz Def. I don't remember the calcs right off the top of my head. And Cyclizar outspeeds the Thunderer, so I can't just sack that one. But Wild Bolt Storm misses, which does suck, but because it would have been nice for differential for him, but it wasn't gonna change the outcome of the game. I would have still won, just with less differential, which could still end up mattering. But yeah, that's that's just what happens when you run in like an 80% accurate move. I go for Volt Switch. I do kill the Thunderous despite the Terra Electric. I go into Scizor because it doesn't matter. He goes Hatterene. I mean, U-turn just kills. I go Samurott because it's the strongest Pokemon I have available for this the Dunsparce. And it is a Spadefta Dunsparce, again, probably for the Volcarona. And so Aqua Cutter, very surprised that it did 78%, but you know, Spadef for Volcarona does make sense. But yeah, Body Slam, no para, despite Serene Grace. Again, kind of unfortunate, but Steven Samurott cleans up the final kill. And that's it for my second match in the GBA. I am now 2-0 with a +9 differential. Really proud of my play so far. And yeah, I have two more games. We'll see how those pan out. C Tier Hisuian Samurott, baby.